Hey guys, welcome to the best news network.
Today we're going to be talking about all the hot topics.
Here are the 1940s.
Starting in 1942, the food rationing program was put into place. This program deeply affected the Americans. It started with the government realizing that they needed to control supply and demand. Rationing was introduced to avoid public anger and shortages and not only allow the wealthy to purchase committees. Many people were not as happy as they needed to give up food and material goods, however, most were accepting and actually volunteered towards their cause. Their efforts included scrap drives, taking factory jobs, goods donations, and other similar projects to assist those on the front. On top of that, they made government-sponsored ads, radio shows, posters, and pamphlets urging the Americans people to comply. In 1943, the government introduced a sugar stamp, which was given to every family, dependent on each of the family's needs. Eventually, more stamps were brought into the table, including the red stamp, which was meats, butters, and oils, the blue stamp, canned, bottled, and frozen fruits and vegetables, canned soups, and beans. This all was an effort to conserve everything for the U.S. military, and not a single person in America didn't do their part. And here's Carson.
Thank you, Tommy. Today, hundreds of thousands of whites were employed in industries mobilizing for the possible entry in the United States World War II, whereas many of the blacks were discriminated against. And on June 25th, 1941, the government had established the Committee on Fair Employment Practices to receive and investigate discrimination complaints and take appropriate steps to readdress the grievances that were made. Sorry for that short interruption. After the war, and with the onset of the Cold War, segregation and inequality within the U.S. were brought into sharp focus on the world stage, prompting federal and judicial action. President Harry Truman appointed the special committee to investigate racial conditions that detailed a civil rights agenda in its report. To secure these rights, Truman later issued the executive order that abolished racial discrimination in the military. Now back to the desk with Ethan.
Thank you, Carson. America needed to quickly raise, train, and outfit a vast military force after the attack on Pearl Harbor. At the same time, it had to find a way to provide material aid to its hard-pressed allies in Great Britain and the Soviet Union. Meeting these challenges would require massive government spending, conversion of existing industries to wartime production, construction of new factories, changes in consumption, and restrictions on many aspects of American life. Government, industry, and labor would need to cooperate. Contributions from all Americans, young and old, men and women, would be necessary to build up what President Roosevelt called the arsenal of democracy. In the months after Pearl Harbor, the nation swiftly mobilized its human and material resources to war. The opportunities and sacrifices of wartime would change America in profound and sometimes unexpected ways. Thank you.
Please excuse this wonderful interruption.
Now with the Hoover vacuum, anything's possible. For the cheap price of $89.99, you can get your hands on one today.
Get this out of here.
Vacuum may tear up carpet, rip off toe, and has a slight chance of death. If confronted by death, contact your medic supervisor immediately.
Welcome back tonight. Wonderful infomercial about Hoover vacuums. Now we're going to go to Kyle for selective service.
Thank you, Ethan. Now, for selective service. The act will require all American men between the ages of 21 and 45 to register for the draft. Draftees will be selected by national lottery. If drafted, you will serve on active duty for 12 months, and then a reserve component for 10 years, or until you reach the age of 45. Whichever comes first. No big deal. Inductees will remain in the Western Hemisphere or in United States possessions or territories located in other parts of the world. The Act provides that no more than 900,000 men will be in training at any one time. Now back to the desk.
Thank you for watching the best news network.
Have a good night.